Alright, so I'm going to do a pot of chili con carne today, and turn that on with rice. So it's a fairly kind of standard recipe. Let's get the onions and the beef cooking. Open. Get them cooking first of all and then we'll do the rice. So chili, I want tomato puree. Tomatoes. And that. Garlic. And I'm going to use my some mild chili powder and some hot chili powder, so we'll do a wee mixture. Actually, I'll put some of my dried chilies in it as well. Boil the kettle for that. Okay, so the first thing to do is to get the beef frying. Sorry, my kettle's going to get a wee bit noisy. This is just 5% beef, 5% fat beef, fairly decent stuff I think. And yeah, I'll just do the lot. I might put some of this into the, freezer. So these are dried habanero chilies. I'll put 2 of them in. And these are dried naga chilies, which are very tight. Oh goodness. These are very old actually. I'll put 2 of them in. So naga and habanero, these are very hot chilies. So they're dried chilies, so just to make it a bit easier to chop them up, just pour a bit of boiling water onto them and just let them soak for a minute, and we'll put that water in as well. But yeah, just a fairly kind of it's a fairly standard recipe this. We've seen this before. But I'll get the onions and the beef frying and then I'll do the rice. And then I'll carry on with it and then it should all cook in the same time as it does to do the rice. The onions are a bit small, it's like they're too big for 2 but too small for 1. I'll go with 2. I know some people leave those wee stalks in at the end of the onion when they're chopping them, but I don't know, I never do that. Too much faffing. so I don't want him sitting in my, I don't want him lying in my seat because he brings in all the grit and dirt and stuff, and then I sit on it. This is the way I've always kind of chopped onions. I know that some people cut them through the equator, and I don't know. I like to take all the roots out of them, and then just couple through like that, and then just hold it and go in at an angle. And once you've gone through at an angle, you can drop it down in the last couple. I find that the quickest way to do it. Sometimes they might break apart a wee bit, but it doesn't really matter. Like this. Right on cue. Maybe a wee bit too much onion that. It's rather just a one large onion, but it'll cook down, it's alright. I have a tin of. I do, yeah. Don't know if I'll use this or not, we'll see. So the onions and the beef will benefit from frying for quite a long time. So I'm going to turn that to number 5. It goes up to 6, so 5 of 6. So I'll leave that to fry while I do the rice, because the mushrooms and the peppers and the tomatoes and things won't they won't take too long. So just overfill that ramekin so I get 3 portions. Just going to do just plain boiled rice. Nothing fancy here, just going to wash it and did I leave that? I'm doing that. Yeah, there's a few different ways to do this. I know that Jamie Oliver will put in things like cumin and kind of some spices and things like that, but I don't know, I'm not a big fan of that. I'm going to use these hot chilies, but the main ingredient is going to be the mild chili powder. I like the mild chili powder because you can put lots and lots of that in, so you get a lot of chili flavour, but without without too much heat. This will be fairly hot. And in fact I might not put in that hot chili powder as I'm putting those dried chilies in, so maybe just not bother with that. But I'll make a big pot of this, and I will probably put a portion or 2 into the freezer. This will freeze nicely, and then it's available for a very quick bit of dinner. If you just lift it out the freezer, to just reheat, and it freezes nicely. You're just rinsing the rice 4, 5, 6 times ish. It's quite a lot of water actually to clean rice. And what you're doing is you're just getting all the starch off it, so when it cooks it doesn't stick together. And basically just kind of keep doing that until it becomes, until it runs clear. I think that'll do it. Should call that done. So I put one heaped ramekin of rice in, so I'm going to put twice the quantity of water in, so 1 rice to 2 water. And I can hear, so I did a heaped ramekin, so I 2 in a wee bit. Yeah, this is catching a wee bit. And I'm not going to put anything in that, I'm just going to put just a pinch of salt, that's all. Done that. So turn that down to 4. It's starting to catch on the bottom a wee bit there, so we'll just keep an eye on that while we do the other vegetables. And I'm going to put a touch of water in that just to, it's just catching a wee bit on the bottom, so just to kind of stop it in frying, and you can lift up the those wee cooked caramelised bits at the bottom, and that's got good flavour in it. And just let it come back down again, and just let it go back down to frying again, and then we can put the tomato puree in. And the chilli and stuff. I'll get a couple of mushrooms. So I don't wash the mushrooms, I just kind of knock off the wee bits of dirt, because they've got lots of water in them, and then we've got lots of water in them already, so if you wash them I think they soak up even more water. They're just like wee sponges. Nice mushrooms, very white. And I'm not doing anything particularly special, just it's all going to cook down, just roughly clanking through and chopping things up. So what will I do next? So does it need more? I think maybe a wee bit more pepper actually. The mushrooms, and as usual tidying up as I go along, so I'm not sure if I should put the chilli powder in this now or the we'll go tomato puree. I'll put the other vegetables in. I'm not sure. It's been a long time since I've done a chilli actually. I can't remember the order. Just so I don't waste any of it. I've got to choose one thing. showed you this before actually, you know that you reverse the cap, and that's what you use to break the metal seal of the tube of tomato puree. So we put quite a lot of tomato puree in. The tomato puree adds nice richness. Once it's cooked, it sweetens up, it's good. In fact, I might put a wee bit of I'll put a wee bit of ketchup in as well, why not? Just a wee bit. Vinegar, sugar, you having that, that's all good. I'm going to put quite a lot of chilli, so this is mild chilli powder. I'm going to put quite a lot of this in. And in fact, sorry, most of a jar actually, sorry, about a quarter of a jar. Put plenty of this in, you can really go, it really takes a lot, and because it's nice and mild, it doesn't add too much heat, but you get an awful lot of flavour from it. If you use this really hot chilli powder, in fact I don't think I'm going to use that, the rice is over boiling. If you use the hot chilli powder, it's just too hot, I think. And I think that I'm not actually sure what that is. I think that might be some more chilli powder. But, so yeah, there's quite a lot of mild chilli powder, and I don't think I'll get any more actually. It's already starting to look good with lots of tomato puree and lots of chilli powder that will all add to give it good strength of flavour. These are vegetables out. I'm actually thinking maybe I was a wee bit early with my rice, but that'll be okay. Pinch of pepper. I'm not going to use any stock with this, so put plenty of sugar in it. And of course, actually we want some garlic. That'll be runs into the tap, it'll be fine. Said before about the garlic, if you rub your fingers on the steel blade of the knife, it will take the smell of garlic off your fingers. These chilies are actually quite hot. I had one earlier today, had some of this one earlier today, so I'm going to take the seeds out. 1.5 chilies. As I say, these ones are actually quite hot. So this will be a fairly hot chili actually. So we'll deal with these. So just lift these out of the water. Just pull the stalks off. I got these at, well, as you can tell from my accent, I live in London, and I went up to Borough Market up at London Bridge, and there's a stall up there which sells chilies, and I got them up there. So these are a fairly kind of specialist thing, but you get them at the market, and I've had those in my fridge for, sorry, I've had these in my cupboard for a long time. They're dried, so they last a long time. But they add a kind of nice wee background flavour, good heat as well. Just put that liquid in that they were rehydrating in. That's that. Something caught the back of my throat there. I'm actually wondering if I even need that tin of tomatoes. I mean, it would do no harm to put it in, but I'm thinking I might just put lots of these fresh tomatoes in instead. Yeah, let's just put lots of these in instead. I won't use that tin. There'll be a lot of liquid that will come out of these, plus a wee bit of water. And that's better, you know, better to have the fresh than the tinned. Somebody just phone him. 0800 number, I think I'll just I can ignore that. So, a tin of kidney beans. Just rinsing off that kind of liquid stuff the tin comes in. I just got a small tin of kidney beans. I'm kind of thinking maybe I should have got one of the bigger tins. Cool, so that's about it. So maybe just put a wee touch of water in there. If you put the tin of tomatoes in, that would work as well. It would add, you'd get your liquid from that. But I think I'm just going to put in a wee touch of water, just a wee bit, because there'll be water coming out of the mushrooms. There'll be water coming out of the tomatoes, and it'll be a fairly tight. It'll be a fairly kind of dryish chili, but that's okay. Because just the smell of this has caught the back of my throat, I think this is going to be quite a strong one actually, but quite a hot one rather. Now I've actually gone too early with the rice. because this rice is actually done now. So hopefully you can see that the water is all gone. So I'm going to turn that rice off now. But I'll do it as an example of how this method of cooking rice is really good. This is a ceramic hob, as I've mentioned before. It's not induction. With the lid on, that rice, I've turned it off now, that rice will sit there for 40 minutes, half an hour, no problem at all. So while this is going to cook, that rice will just sit there and it'll be absolutely fine. So I really should be leaving this to cook a wee bit longer actually. I'm going to taste it. I think it's going to be quite hot actually. No, not too bad. It's a wee bit of kick to it. A wee bit of heat to it, but then no, that's perfect, that's really good. I think because there's no stock in it, it needs a touch more salt. But that will sit there, I reckon, once that cooks out for a... So what I should really have done is, I don't know why I did the rice so soon, that was a mistake. But I'm going to let that cook now with the lid on for half an hourish, and hopefully that hopefully the rice should still be warm by then, and then we'll have that at the same time. So basically I really should have I should have done all that and then done the rice, and then when the rice was cooked they would cook at the same time. Made a small mistake there, but that's okay. So I'm just gonna but that's basically it. That's a basic chili. That's a basic kind of chili con carne kind of method. I don't know if it's authentic or anything like that, I don't really care. I'm interested in getting a plate of nice food. You've got vegetables in there, you've got kidney beans, you've got your nice beef, and there's no stock, so there's not excessive salt. You're getting the flavour from the mild chili powder and from the chilies, the fresh chilies, and then those dried chilies as well. So that's where all the flavour comes from. So I'm going to let that cook out for a bit, and I will come back when it is I'll come back when it's ready to serve. So let's do that. So let's have a look up at the old clock. 4:45. 25 minutes-ish, half an hour-ish. I keep talking about you can leave this rice on here for half an hour and it'll be fine, but I've never actually done it. So let's have a look. Nice steam coming off it there. Perfectly hot, perfectly good. So that's fine. That rice will sit there fine, and that's kind of steamed and it's dried out. It's dried up a treat, that actually. So I think it probably benefits. I think the rice does benefit. I don't know if you're seeing all that steam coming off there. The rice probably does benefit actually from sitting for a wee while. And as I do all the time, I'm going to just run the fork through that and take it off the heat now, and that will be in the fridge within the hour. Within 20 minutes, within half an hour to an hour, that will be in the fridge, and I'll be reheating it. So I'll turn this off now. I'm still coughing from before. So see, there's a fair amount of liquid in there. So a lot of liquid did come out the vegetables, which is ideal. So we didn't. You could, to make it more kind of saucy, you can put the tin of tomatoes in there, tin of chopped tomatoes. But I actually quite like it kind of on the drier side. So it's a bit tighter, a bit richer in flavour. So that's you there, nice wee portion of back on that. so that's done. So I'll move that off the heat so it cools a wee bit quicker. But so that's that. So that rice does sit on the worktop, on the induction hob. It does sit on the ceramic hob because that's still hot. Because it's not an induction hob, this remains hot, and it will keep that rice nice and warm for, that was almost half an hour, so a good half an hour easily, and that rice is good. So that's done. So that's your basically chili con carne and rice. It's quite dry. It's on the drier side, tighter and drier. That's what I wanted. If you wanted it to be more liquidy and watery, use the tin of tomatoes, and then you would get more of a liquid through it. But yeah, so that's done.